Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us live after a few technical problems from 2 days ago on Wednesday. Thank you for rejoining us this Friday. Happy Friday greetings to you all. It is Friday, the 19th of May, 2023, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and thank you for joining us to discuss global business growth for Idaho companies. As you can see on this screen, I am joined by Jennifer Verdon. In my screen, that's the top left-hand side, manager of Idaho Commerce, and Casey Gearing, chief financial manager of Mountain States Oilseeds. Jennifer, you will notice behind Jennifer the best paintings that she will be telling you about later in this live stream, because we had a little bit of an intro and there's some very nice stories to be told there. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce IBT Online. As it says up here, whoops, wrong side. As it says over here on this side, IBT.ONL. That stands for International Business and Technology. Please think of IBT as a technology company. We are a technology company through our online global programs. We developed the online global programs over the past 15, 20 years. All of that to grow your exports, your sales, your brand, and your business. And these programs have won a series of awards. I just want to share that with you because they got, shall we say, a little bit of recognition over the years, notably from the US Commercial Services. That's the President's E Award for Export Services. SIDO, that's the State International Development Organization, grouping together all the states. That's the Champion of Trade Award, and the NASBITE International Development Award. So a series of awards for programs that are here to serve you. What are the Idaho Online Global Programs? What happens there? We make the internet work for you. So today's #1 marketing and sales tool to grow your business internationally, it's the net. It's the net, and it's the net again. So what do? We leverage the net to help you in any or all of your global target markets. Our clients say to us, target market number 1, Canada, number 2, Mexico, then China, Japan, wherever it is, we deliver best practice, optimally localized business development websites. All of that so you can be found and understood and easy to do business with in your export markets. Then we deliver international online marketing. So today's world about search engine marketing, the rise of social media, video marketing, and everything else that goes with it. And I'll be talking about it a little bit later, GA4 with the Google Analytics and all of that very important data that enables you to understand traffic, engagement, and conversions to grow your business internationally. Okay, with that little bit of an introduction, it's my great pleasure to begin the handover process. So Jennifer, are you ready? Tell us about, please, Idaho Commerce, awesome organization that you work for, been helping Idaho companies export for many, many years. What is new and what are you doing? And please tell us about all the programs you provide to help Idaho companies export successfully.
Thank you so much for the intro, John. And we love working with IBT, and I'll introduce Casey here in a little bit. Always great to work with Casey as well. And I should clarify, there's no pictures behind me. That's actually Casey, and Casey can talk about her pictures later. But the international team here at Idaho Commerce is busy as always, and we work with our Idaho companies, primarily small to medium sized, but we also love to work with the large companies, and we help them export their products. We work with new to exporting companies, and we work with companies that are experienced exporters and are looking for new markets. We have a variety of services that we can offer. There's a lot of consulting, export strategizing with companies. We bring educational opportunities, anything from export compliance to market intelligence. But there's a lot of hands-on support. And I should point out that the state of Idaho has 3 overseas offices in China, Taiwan, and Mexico, and they're very active, and they're phenomenal contractors on the ground that can help our Idaho companies. So 2 of the things I want to highlight specifically are our international trade shows and our governor's trade missions, and sometimes also industry missions, where we can really provide on the hand on the ground support, hand holding to our Idaho companies, taking them to the markets at a fairly low cost, comparatively speaking, if they would have to do it on their own. So I'll highlight just a couple of trade shows. We're going to have a lot of them coming up, but I'll just mention 3 so I'm not bogging you down. So Singapore Air, that's a big one. That's coming up in February of 2024. In the same month, we're also going to be in Germany and at Enforce Tech. And then a new one we're eyeing and a new market for us is South Africa. We're going to pursue an ag equipment show that's called NAMPO, and that will be in May of 2024. So those are just a few to mention. There's many more that we're going to be promoting and highlighting. But one thing for Idaho companies to know is that they can join us at these trade shows. We're going to set up an Idaho pavilion and we will help you get there. There's a lot of cost savings if you go with us and a lot of support from our staff. And then I should also point out that we're having a governor's trade mission to Mexico coming up in November of 2023. That is open right now for registration. So if you have any questions, reach out to me or my team about that particular opportunity. We try to serve as many industries with these trade shows and trade missions as we can, but we can't serve them all. So we do have phenomenal grant program available where companies can come to us and apply for their own specific project. So they can apply to go on their own sales trips internationally or pursue their own trade shows. And that is called the STEP grant. So again, on our website, you can find a lot of information about that STEP grant. And there's an application period coming up the first 3 weeks in August. The other cool opportunity with this grant is the digital side of things. So we've learned a lot of lessons during COVID, and one opportunity that we created during COVID, and that's here to stay, are international digital marketing opportunities. So you can also use the grant and pursue things like adding e-commerce channels or a customized website for the Mexican market. And that's where we work really closely with IBT on really flushing that grant program out. And lucky for us, we have Casey with us today, who actually has applied for the STEP grant, has successfully received the STEP grant, and has executed a digital project with that grant funding. So I'll kick it over to you, Casey. And we're really curious to hear about Mountain State Oilseeds, what's going on, and how you've used this grant.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for the short introduction. Just to provide a little bit more background on our company, Mountain States Oilseeds was started by my father. We are a family-owned company, and we contract and originate oilseed crops mainly in the Pacific Northwest, and then we market those both domestically and globally. My name is Casey Gehring, and so they mentioned earlier my photos behind, or my paintings behind me, and this one directly behind me is a painting that my husband's grandma painted, and then the one a little further away was actually my grandparents purchased that painting in Switzerland on their honeymoon. And so I just like to point out that you know, we are a small company and we're a family company, and we value, you know, business with integrity and honesty, and that's how we've built the company that we have, alongside using a lot of the programs and tools that the Idaho Department of Commerce and the Idaho Department of Agriculture have provided, like this STEP grant. Our company participated in the program in 2021. We use the grant funds to help offset this type of project. And without the grant and the help of IBT, we would not have been able to build these websites so effectively and efficiently. And so we were really fortunate to receive these STEP grant funds. So we chose to produce 2 locally optimized websites, one for Japan and one for the UK. We don't have any in-house tech staff that could do this type of thing for us. So producing these with the help of IBT was amazing, honestly. The whole project went so smooth and so nicely. But after it was completed, we immediately started receiving some buyer inquiries from the countries for which the websites were optimized for. But we also received inquiries from countries who engage in regional trade in those areas. So Japan, for instance, we received other inquiries from, China or Korea, which was kind of an interesting concept. And we were able to see through the analytical tools that IBT provides with this program, the data to better understand who was searching for us, who was searching for our products, and what they needed. Ultimately, the websites really helped build a ton of recognition and legitimacy for our company overseas. It takes a lot of upfront time and investment to bring on new buyers in our industry, and this program really helped to speed up that process and gain additional market reach. So kind of talking about objectives and target markets and strategies that we've seen, we participated to develop further reach into markets that we've spent many years going after. And one of the biggest benefits of this program was to have those websites completed in the local language. So especially Japan, no one in our company has any experience with the Japanese language. And so without the help of IBT and their wide reach of employees worldwide, we would not have been able to go through with a Japanese language website without the help of this grant and IBT. We really felt that this website was both of these websites were just another method for sharing our products with globally with consumers, and to have those consumers have greater acceptance of our U.S. grown products. It really helps our local grower base, and our company was built on trying to make sure that we maintain, what's good for the farmer and what's good for the buyer, and trying to make sure that we maintain those relationships. In Japan, we chose that market because we have a competitive advantage with some of our products, and in the UK, we felt that that country offered a little bit of value for all European reach, and then hoped to help build additional processors and buyers in the UK. Completing the project, we spent about a year or more building out the website and working with IBT and their very unique workflow platform. Their workflow platform really worked well. And so ultimately it was a great opportunity for us. Looking at strategies and business growth in the future, we're an ag business, like a lot of other Idaho companies are, and we're used to the ebb and flow of markets and different crop years. And these past few crop years have been impacted by drought and ocean shipping turmoil. And these websites really helped us find buyers who had supply chain issues or other problems throughout the last couple of years, and built our buyer base and our contacts up. And that provided us, just lots of great inroads that we're going to continue to access in future years. So our experience was great, but I'd like John, if he would maybe tell us a little bit more about the Idaho Online Global Program and how it's helpful to Idaho exporters from his side.
Casey, thank you so much. Thank you for that feedback. It was great to listen to, thank you very much indeed. All right, just to jump to it and follow up on that in a wider context. And today, IBT Online is very proud to serve over 650 companies. We help those companies grow their exports, their sales, their brands, and their businesses globally in over 40 countries across the globe. And I'd like to just give a quick shout out to one particular client, a company called Science6, which we feel is a great story. It's a great story. It sort of summarizes in a way what we seek to achieve, a bit like what we're trying to achieve with Mountain States Oilseeds. And our clients, as we're working with them, helping them leverage the web, there's a company called Science6. Science6 is actually based in North Carolina. We started working with them in 2021. And they're a medtech device company. Their exports at that particular point in time were, shall we say, very low in the, shall we say, single digits. And we were working with them in Latin America and India, which were two markets that they'd identified with the help of the US commercial services. So we built the websites in Spanish for Mexico and for across those Latin American countries, all of that to recruit distributors. And then the same in India, again, to recruit distributors across the subcontinent. They went on one or two trade missions, and we were helpful to them in the trade missions, sort of creating awareness that they were there and looking for distributors. Roll on 2 years. They informed us about 2 months ago that they had won the SBA, Small Business Administration, 2023 Exporter of the Year award out of the entire US, out of the entire exporter network. So a great accolade to the Science6 team. And we're very proud that they turned to us and said it was very much thanks to the online global programs where we were able to market and sell themselves internationally that really drove their sales up. And now over a third of their sales are exports to those markets. They were at the White House recently, I think about 2 weeks ago, collecting the award. So just a nice little anecdote that I wanted to share with you about what can happen when these programs are there to help our clients market correctly. And so what do we do? What are the benefits for you as a company that we would like to share? Well, number one is getting out there and just doing, as Casey said, it's about getting those inbound leads. It's that traffic. It's that awareness that you're there, generating traffic, engagement, and most importantly, conversions. So we can help you build an export pipeline. We can help you work with your distributors there by supporting your distributors, identifying and recruiting and onboarding your distributors. E-commerce, I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but just to say, e-commerce is only going one way, and that is up. And I encourage everybody to think through e-commerce for businesses and business to business, because really all the market reports that I'll be sharing later tell us where that's going. Brand building, that's another big one. Many of our clients are focused on brand, and today we have the tools to help you manage and grow your brand differently. I'll be talking about Google Analytics, well, GA4 in a moment, about how important that is, because it gives you a complete new toolkit to drive your business internationally, whether it is B2C, B2B, or B2G. So with that, I think that having summarized it, it's about time that I handed it on again. And as I hand it over, that kind of segues into Jennifer. Jennifer, you know, there are so many reports out there. Personally, I find them fascinating, whether we're talking McKinsey, Gartner, Forrester, or PwC. And they're all talking about this transition, this shift to digital. And we, as you said earlier in the live stream, COVID had that extraordinary impact. It obliged us all to adopt digital, and those habits have stayed with us. So companies that are seeking to expand, there's another aspect that they bring up. It's generational, and a new generation is working differently. And when they're going to market, they're much more digitally minded than previous generations. And again, what can we do? So there's a technology piece. And as for the technology, I mean, we can have a whole breakout session talking about OpenAI and ChatGPT and just what that's going to do for helping exporters. And there's a lot to be said there. So in your experience, Idaho Commerce, what are you seeing in terms of shifts of demand and for help of services? Is it the same, or when you're talking to companies, are Idaho companies asking for new products and services? How's all of that?
Yeah, the world definitely has changed, but I'll leave all the technology trainings and conversations to you, John. That's definitely not my expertise. But some of the things that we have seen during COVID and now, post COVID, definitely anything virtual, digital. That's the only way how business could be done. We even saw digital trade shows. Some things are really great, and some things weren't so great. So digital trade shows wasn't a great success for us. Maybe some companies that are here, or maybe Casey, have had different experiences, but for us that did not work. But definitely moving to Zoom calls and being able to get business done that way, that was a huge shift, and I think that's here to stay. But there's a huge hunger for travel, so companies definitely are willing to get on a plane, go back to trade shows. I mean, it's we hear the term revenge travel a lot, and I think that doesn't just apply for tourist travel, but that applies for business travel. People just want to get out and go back to trade shows. One example, we had a company that applied for a $7,000 grant to do a trade show of their own in Colombia, and they pretty immediately came back with $1.1 million worth of sales. And this is a small company because they were able to apply for the grant. So this is phenomenal. We love to hear those success stories. But with the trade shows being back and just some of the challenges that everybody's facing, talking about inflation, workforce shortages, travel seems more expensive. Trade shows definitely seem more expensive. Sometimes you just don't have enough staff to cover it all. So that can be a struggle for companies. So they're definitely still looking for virtual options. And I think the expectation just around the globe is now that companies know how to do this. We've gone through the pandemic. We started selling in all kinds of virtual ways. So the expectations of your buyers are that you can do that without having to get on a plane. We actually just today are wrapping up a mining mission in Mexico. And for the first time, we had companies travel to Mexico, but while they were there, they had a significant amount of virtual calls because Mexico is a big country. We only went to Mexico City, and it wasn't feasible to make all the travel happen. And some of the Mexican companies were outside of Mexico City. So we opted for virtual calls, and it worked great. And it was the first time we did it this way. So long story short, virtual is here to stay. And as you said, e-commerce and all these virtual channels, they're just going to see increases. But since we have Casey here, I'd like to kind of hear what Casey's seeing from Mountain States Oilseeds perspective and where she sees the digital selling going.
One thing that our company, thanks Jennifer, sorry. One thing that our company believes in is that digital selling is more than just a typical e-commerce site. And that's pretty important to our company. Just maintaining and having a professional digital presence across many different platforms and opportunities to reach your buyers is very important. And it's also very hard work. And so IBT helped to make this piece of it, these locally optimized websites, very smooth and easy for us. Additionally, they've really helped us to maintain that portion of our digital presence through their ongoing support plan. I receive regular inquiries and check-ins from staff at IBT. So if I have any questions or need any changes, that's a great time to bring them up because you get busy in business, and sometimes if somebody's not saying, hey, let's meet, you kind of keep pushing some things to the side. And so them checking in with us on a regular basis is something that I really appreciate in our business. And they make those changes, any digital changes really easy, and they're very speedy at it, which really helps keep our company up to date with the rapidly changing world of agriculture. Technology and agriculture are two things that are very intertwined, and probably my personal opinion is, going to be making the biggest technological changes very rapidly in the years to come. So as far as our export strategy is concerned, we're able to respond and ship to buyers that would have been unreachable without the help of the program, and having a digital presence. And we're also looking to the future, and what does the future hold? Maybe some new and additional opportunities for other products in both of these countries, or the possibility that, you know, we would start targeting and looking into some areas that normally we would have no access to. So John, one thing I think that would help our audience is if you could tell us what's new in the online world for our Idaho exports, and what IBT would offer in that fashion.
Casey, thank you so much, and absolutely. We have about 15 programs currently on what we call our Idaho Online Global Program webpage, right down at the bottom. It's possible just to see them, which is all about creating targeted business development localized websites. And just underneath that are the e-commerce programs, whether you're on Shopify or WooCommerce, we've got programs for you. And then, of course, all of that follow-up related to how are we going to take advantage of the opportunities of search engine marketing, social media marketing, video marketing, brand marketing, account-based marketing. And again, there's just a series of programs so that the Idaho companies can sort of have a look at it and understand, and we're here to help them understand how they can take advantage of these programs. But I would just like to say, and I should really start off the whole conversation by saying open AI and chat GPT, which has changed everything. And I'm sure that you're aware that Google as well, at the back end of last week, released its own versions of AI. So this is the big hot subject, and the impact that is going to have on search. People are saying, is search here and is search here to stay, or how will that impact it? And how will this generative learning models change the way that we do? But let's get back down to earth for a second, and let's just talk about a few things that are, shall we say, very immediate, but those are big subjects that we'd like to address. Number one, please be aware, if you are looking at your website today, if you haven't taken into account the arrival of GA4 in July, which is about to happen, Google will discontinue what they call universal analytics. So if you haven't prepared yourself for this, you're going to lose everything, shall we say, historically. So please do be aware. It actually doesn't take a long time to adjust, shall we say, the coding piece is relatively easy. The more interesting piece are all of the what they call the customized new paths, and especially for e-commerce monetization. There's some really interesting functionality at IBT Online. We have people who focus on just that, who can help you. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box. Let us know. We can help you with GA4 for July. But really what I wanted to do is just to spend a moment talking about e-commerce, because global e-commerce for 2023 is forecast to grow at about 10%. And if you think of how our economies relatively are flatlining, that 10% growth, that is enormous. And there are some companies that are really taking advantage of that. So worldwide e-commerce sales today are valued at over $6 trillion US. Now, think of that opportunity. And if you want to feel even more engaged with it, do be aware that these reports that are coming out of organizations like Gartner are telling us that it's going to grow 10%, 10%, 10% compound over the next 4 or 5 years. So if you want to look at it, the enormous opportunity for e-commerce is absolutely going one way. And so I do encourage Idaho companies today, whether you're going B2B or B2C, or indeed B2G, please do think about e-commerce, because it is absolutely a trend. Well, it's more than a trend. It's here to stay. And companies that are taking advantage of e-commerce are proving to be more successful. And those growth rates that you see, whether it's in the US or Europe or China, everybody is saying that these e-commerce programs are going to just grow and grow. A little factoid, of the 1.9 billion shoppers using e-commerce, they say that 12% of them are in the US. That means about 23 million. Therefore, 1.6 billion of them are outside the US, They could be your potential clients. And I guess I would just say a quick word about two platforms principally. If you're going to go in your own platform, please do think about WooCommerce. WooCommerce is the back end of WordPress. And therefore, if you're already using WordPress, it really is not, shall we say, an enormous task to take on WooCommerce and enable yourself to be e-commerce functional, have that transactional functionality. And by the way, WooCommerce has about 20%, 26% of the of the home market. Of the global market for e-commerce sites. Sorry about that. Let's jump to Shopify. That's the second major platform that we see people using. Shopify today has about 8%, and they've opened up Shopify Plus, Shopify Markets, and Shopify Markets Pro to enable companies to sell, US companies to sell internationally. Now, they say today that they've got over 175,000 merchants using that. And in the US merchants using Shopify Markets in average sell into 14 markets. Think about that, 14 markets. That's an opportunity to be thought about. I thought you couldn't talk about e-commerce without mentioning Amazon. Amazon has got 13 online marketplaces around the world for you. And people say today, be multi-channel. Use your own e-commerce platform, but also use a third party. And of course, Amazon is the big, shall we say, gorilla there. So 13 online marketplaces. If you're interested in Europe, there are 5. Germany, United Kingdom, France, Spain, and Italy. If you're focused on Asia, India, Japan, China, and Australia. If you're focused in the Americas, Mexico, Canada, United States, and Brazil. So they have this program there. It's available and it's for you as a summary of e-commerce opportunities. Please do think through e-commerce, and Jennifer is here to help you and be in contact. And with that, it's now, I'd like to just sort of hand back for a second. And I know I'm handing back to Casey. I'm saying to Casey, Casey, here you go. With your knowledge and experience, what are your tips? You know, there you go. You have your experience and you have your, you know, your thoughts on this. Here you are. You're in an advisory capacity. Your top tips for Idaho companies, and indeed, what about Mountain States Oilseeds? What are you turning your attention to over you know, for 2023, 24?
Thanks, John. I appreciate the opportunity to provide these tips. Tip 1: use this grant program and IBT to help your company succeed. Their large network of employees worldwide is just invaluable, and the staff at the Department of Commerce just really help you in any way that's needed throughout the process. 2, assemble a team of 2 to 3 people inside your company that will do the work that needs to be provided to IBT. While IBT does a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the development side, you know, they don't know your company like you do. And so copywriting, editing, photos, video selection, all that kind of thing is very hard work and takes time. And so having a team assembled that can share that work really makes the project go smooth and provides a higher quality end result. One person can't think of everything that needs to be said, and so having a team work together really does help provide a nice balanced website. So the tip number 3, collect as many photos and videos from the entire company as you can. Just having the biggest set of photos and videos for IBT to choose from really helps with the aesthetics of the site. So, you know, there were some particular photos that we really wanted to use, and then there was other places where I said, hey, IBT, you guys have, you know, great visual eye for this and aesthetics, and so you choose some photos that you think are best. And that also helped kind of add an additional team member to the work, because we got somebody else that had a visual eye for it. So, and then produce a website maintenance plan or schedule where each year you can kind of make regular updates or changes to the site to keep it fresh. It is something that you don't think about every day, updating it, but it is really important to kind of get some things on the calendar or a schedule, even if it's just a couple times a year that you're making an update to the site. And then lastly, just follow the lead of the experts at IBT, because they really are experts and they have the experience to make the project really great for your company. Next steps for us, we're looking to decide right now whether to further build out these websites or possibly target a new global market. At this point, I'm not sure which direction we will decide to go, but one thing I can say is that we will continue to leverage the Idaho Department of Commerce STEP grant, as well as work with IBT on future digital presence for our company. And one thing that I do know is that Mountain States Oilseeds will continue to impact our growers in a positive way, help them succeed, and make Idaho known for being a premier producer of oilseed and specialty crops. The sky is the limit in agriculture, and we're ready to discover our next global business connection and make sure that our buyers are always getting premier high quality seeds. So Jennifer, I think it's you to kind of maybe close this up here a little bit, or what is the latest or new resources that Idaho companies could consider, and anything new about grants or financial assistance?
Yeah, thank you, Casey, and just love the enthusiasm. We love working with you guys, and there's so many fantastic Idaho companies out there that are just as excited about international markets. So we have a dream job. So thank you for giving us this dream job. So I'll repeat a few things, but just everybody remember our grant period opens the first 3 weeks in August. Contact us if you have any questions. You should be getting notified if you are on our international newsletter. If you don't know, contact us. We'll make sure to get you on there. Everything is always posted on the Idaho Department of Commerce website, so check our calendars. Like I said, we update that frequently, but always reach out to us. And I should mention, we work as a village. There are so many partners that we work with, either on the state side, on the federal side. So our Idaho Department of Agriculture folks, our U.S. commercial folks, which is on the federal side. And then even on the private sector, IBT has been such a phenomenal partner to us and our Idaho companies. Contact us if you don't know where to start. We usually find somebody that can help you with whatever international issue you might have going on. So I'll kind of leave it at that. I think that's kind of the quick and dirty from my end, but just so happy to be on this with John, you, and Casey. And I'll just kick it back to John real quick so you can close us out. Thank you so much.
Jennifer, thank you. Casey, thank you. Really, just as a closeout, this has been so much of a learning. I have to say, I've really enjoyed. Jennifer, thank you for sharing all of that. And Casey, your story, I can only say to you, we are 100% with you. Please know at IBT Online, we are committed to help you achieve that vision, that mission that you laid out. And so all that we can do, please don't hesitate to let us know, and know that we'll be there. It has been great doing this live stream, but actually I was just thinking how what a shame, because it would given the time, I believe the time is absolutely right. What I'd like to say, Jennifer and Casey, is just, shall we get together and have lunch? Wouldn't it be nice to be in person, where we could just sort of choose somewhere and just go down, and I'll see you guys in 15 minutes and let's have a nice long lunch and enjoy it. It's Friday, it's Happy Friday. So I'm sorry we're not in person. I'll just close it out by saying again, heartfelt thanks to you both indeed for sharing that information and your stories. And I'm going to say, everybody, I wish you a wonderful Friday, happy Friday, and a very enjoyable weekend ahead. So thank you again, and speak soon. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.